2 Kings chapter 16. And now we come to potentially one of, if not the most notorious king of the southern kingdom. He's at least one of the big three bad boys, Ahaz. He reigned only 16 years, and he gets way more ink than Uzziah's 52 years, which is even more interesting considering the nation's influence and power under Ahaz shrank. What Ahaz did was basically set new standards for how far from covenant loyalty the nation would stray from what God asked of the king and of the nation. Because he's not only promoting worship to other gods outside of the temple, he's corrupting temple worship as well. He sacrificed his own son. That's a new low for Judah. He allies with Assyria, looking to them for security rather than God. And yet it's to this king Isaiah would communicate God's sign that a young woman would bear a child as a sign of rescue that was going to come. Ahaz is just a picture of a king who failed to trust God. But I want to talk about just from these high places and why God wanted worship to be at the temple only. Because there's a correlation for our culture today, and even maybe for us as followers of Jesus that we can be tempted into as well. See, high place worship was, the idea behind high places is that they were as close to connection points between heaven, God's dwelling place, and earth, humanity's dwelling place. Like it's as high up on earth as we can climb kind of idea, and get as close to heaven. And the idea in a way wasn't bad or wrong in itself. I mean, it's not that heaven is some, physically, up there, but the idea is fine and sound. The issue about high places is that worshiping there left the worshipers far too capable of forming and solidifying their own ideas and practices related to worship. There's no priests or Levites there to guide or correct. There's no way to kind of stop drift, whether over time, could be short time, or it could be a long time. There's no ties to kind of that authoritative community, that other believers where each region, each area, it can be doing things in their own way. And again, it's not that worship had to be one way, but it was focused on one God and God's way. It's not that God is or has ever been all about rules and structure. It's that God wants us to keep in the boundaries of learning to love him and love others well. And that means we need guardrails. Community helps us have guardrails so we don't start thinking just weird things all on our own. Having Torah read or having Levites there, the priests, to help kind of keep the boundaries of understanding God rightly and what God wants rightly. Ahaz not only disregarded guardrails, he detested them. He wanted power and success and security on terms he could negotiate with pagan gods rather than having to surrender to the one true God. And it can be the same for people today. We make our own religion. We take a little bit of this and a little bit of that, or I like this part of Jesus, but I don't like the surrender part, or I don't like having to obey in this area, and so I'll just take what I like. It's the same idea as the high places. Jesus said, if anyone would follow me, he must deny himself daily, take up his cross, and follow me. It's full-out surrender. As Paul would say in Romans, we're called to be living sacrifices. So just want to encourage you, as you're listening to this, let's keep studying the scriptures together. Ask questions. Talk about what you're hearing and learning. Talk about what you're seeing God saying to you. Because then as you do that, we sharpen one another, and we help keep ourselves focused on Jesus. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you. May the Lord be gracious to you. And today would you know his peace. God bless.